Hannah goes, you got to go through that Kodak moment. And she meant Canon event.
Welcome to Pelvic POV with your hosts and doctors of physical therapy, Amanda Neary and Hannah Meyer. Hey, pelvic freaks. Welcome back to another episode of Pelvic POV.
We're your freaks for us and we're freaks for your pelvis, baby. We're talking about red flags.
Red flags. What is up with that?
Yeah. What the heck? Amanda.
So,
what do you think the biggest red flag is that you ignored, that you stayed in a relationship, you looked back later and you were like, what the freaking heck?
Okay, my personal biggest one was someone who mooches off their parents.
Ooh.
So in my specific cases, I realized that 3 long-term exes in a row had still lived with their parents and also like not had real jobs or paid rent, at least a full amount of rent. And I understand that like certain cultures, it's common to live with your parents until you're engaged, whatever. This was not a cultural thing in those cases. It was very much like well, why not? And these men were all 30, around 30. Maybe not the first one I'm thinking of because I was younger too. But men in their 30s living with their parents. One of them even had a mattress on the ground when I first started dating him. And, you know, listening back to this is going to give me a huge ick and make me cringe because like how the fuck did I let that happen?
I can't imagine you dating someone like that.
No, but I also like had way worse like self-worth at the time.
Yeah.
I had a lot of stuff I had to work on. So it just kind of fell into those kind of relationships. And the reason it was a red flag is like, okay, maybe you met the perfect person and they're saving money for something and they're living with their parents for the time being. Fine, whatever. That was just their personality.
Or if there's like a life occurrence that causes that to happen.
Right. If there's a big change or something. But this was a lack of ambition. This was lack of drive, lack of wanting to actually do anything. And then as a result of that, I was the one that was so motivated in the relationship. I was always moving the relationship forward. I felt like I was like dragging people by their feet multiple times in multiple situations. And it was awful.
If they can't show up for themselves, how are they going to show up for you?
Totally.
Period. And I'm not even a relationship coach. That sounded so good.
It's actually crazy. Like, since I've known you, the changes in my dating life have been astronomical. Not just because I'm dating women, but like
because you know me.
People. Just like we kind of went through a big transitional year at the same time.
We hold each other accountable, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because with our exes, if we were friends dating our exes, I don't think it could have ever happened.
The second we met, we had to dump them.
The second we met, we both went through massive breakups. Like I would have been embarrassed for you to see me in that relationship because I was just like a shell of a human.
Yeah, and you being my first employee, I was like, I don't want this guy in the office. Like,
yeah,
she's going to think I'm not capable.
Exactly. Which I would have thought you were capable. But like, it's crazy, right? Like, ever since that we started, I almost said dating. Ever since we became like friends, that's truly like my standards have been like higher than ever too. Because I'm like, well, are you going to pass Amanda's vibe check? Because that's the real deal.
For real. No, I know. Introducing like someone to you was more important than a lot of other people because I was like, I spend so much time with Hannah. Like, we see each other all the fucking time. You have to like them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's crazy. What was your biggest red flag?
Oh, there's so many. There's a lot. Maybe when we were FaceTiming and he called me his ex's name on accident.
Like, how far into the relationship?
Like a month in.
How far out of that relationship was it for him?
Not good, dude. It was like, let's say, I think they broke up in October and we like started dating like January.
Oh, okay. So it was fresh.
It was fresh. Red flag.
I get that happens, but like if you're not like half asleep and it's a true accident, like what's your excuse? How similar were your names?
Not similar at all. Similar, dude. Like, I think they were still like talking at that point, probably. Because another red flag, text from his ex on his phone. And he's like, oh, we're not hanging out. Dude,
That's tough.
so red flaggy.
I had a text from an ex on his phone once too. One of my relationships. And yeah.
If you see a text from an ex on their phone and they don't
show
immediately
you.
tell you, that's a big red flag.
And they don't show you. They don't open their phone and show you the text.
If I were to receive any like kind of communication on my phone from my ex, I would immediately tell my partner and be like, just so you know, this happened.
Yeah.
Out of pure fear that he would think I'm doing something.
Yeah.
I would be like, no, trust me. This is not what, like, this just how I would be terrified that he would like find that text.
You're bringing up red flags that I forgot about. Like
Really?
one time, a text from an ex popped up and his phone was locked. And this was early in our relationship. And again, they hadn't broken up that long ago. And he didn't show me. I was like, what's going on there? And he's like, oh, it's nothing. And wouldn't show me the text. And I remember just that gut feeling where I was like, that's not good.
If
We
you get a
did break
gut
up
feeling
shortly after that. And then we got back together.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's always going to happen, right? You gotta go through that canon event.
Yeah, that was tough.
What did I say before? I said canon event, but what was the one thing I said in the car?
I don't know, but you were thinking
A Kodak.
a Kodak moment.
It's a Kodak moment.
Hannah goes, you got to go through that Kodak moment. And she meant canon event. Just camera names getting mixed up.
Dude, because Kodak moment is also a saying.
Yep. Very different.
And Amanda was like, do you mean canon event?
That was good.
But yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a gut feeling, any kind of gut feeling at any moment, 99% of the time you are right, and it's because women's intuition is always right.
Guys, and we've talked about this with pelvic floor stuff too. Like, do I not like my relationship or do I actually have pelvic floor dysfunction? Your body will also tell you in those cases too. That's what a gut feeling is.
A lot of times your body tells you before.
In that relationship,
Before you know.
I gained like 35 pounds. I had breakouts. I was unwell. And then I ended it and I immediately like all of that reversed. And I didn't even try. It wasn't from being in a pit of despair. It was just like, oh, I'm free from that.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
God, I have more red flags, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to say another one? Or should we go down this list?
We should go down this list.
So we have a list.
Because I'll be here all day.
I know. This might lead us into some more banter, but these are some uncommon red flags we found online, and we're going to read them to each other and then say like how much of a red flag it is to us. So Hannah, their dating profile doesn't match who they really are.
Their dating profile doesn't match who they really are is obviously a red flag.
Obviously red flag.
But I could see my younger self being like, well, it's close enough.
I also would have like been fine with it back in the day, but someone posted on one of those like, are we dating the same guy Chicago groups? And they were like, guys, even if his age is off by 1 year, like he's already comfortable lying to you. And I was like, that's so true.
That is so true,
That's
actually.
facts.
Okay, what do you think about this one? They describe all of their exes as crazy.
Big red flag. I absolutely, even one ex, honestly.
Yeah.
Even one ex.
This happened to me, and I remember I creeped on his ex's Instagram, and I was like looking at pictures of her. I was like, yo, I think I'd be friends with this girl.
Usually.
And he's definitely saying I'm crazy for sure.
Oh,
I am crazy sometimes.
one of the people I dated has described like 4 other women to me as crazy. And I was like, you're absolutely saying that about me too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's just, you look at the common denominator, especially if it's multiple people. Mm-hmm. Not, I don't know. That just tells me that there's been no reflection and no growth. And like, even if someone behaved in a way that wasn't that cool, there's going to be something you can grow from that too. Mm-hmm. That wasn't English, but you know what I mean.
That's fine.
All right.
Context clues. What about this one? They put you down even in a teasing way. Like they make a joke. They like make it out of a joke. You know what I mean?
I think there's a way to do that is nice.
It's definitely like a different vibe. You can tell.
Totally. There's
When they say it in a teasing way, but they're like, you deep down, you know that they're like being serious.
well, it's like backhanded compliments too. Like when people are like, "Oh, I think it's so cool how you just don't care what anyone thinks of you and you just dress however you want." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that maybe was a nicer version of a backhanded compliment, but like,
Still.
I think it's so cool how you like wear so much makeup all the time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. A partner can do that too and say something really hurtful, but like make it a joke.
Yeah. All right, Amanda, are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you think this is a red flag? Yes or no? So you're going to say red flag if you think it's a red flag.
Okay.
Not having a big social media presence or like not having a social media at all. Do you think that's a red flag?
No.
Me too. I think it's a freaking game changer if they don't have social media.
What I do think is a red flag is if they have a social media presence, but they refuse to post you.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
That is the only thing. That's my only thing with social media is like, okay, you post all the time. You post your whole life on here, but I'm the one thing you don't want to share.
And I'm like, I should be like the center.
And guess what? Every time I've gotten in a fight over that, that person had cheated on me.
Yeah.
And so
They're hiding something.
they hiding something. But no, not having a social media presence, I don't give a fuck. Or even if you have one, but like you don't post anything, I don't care. It's not really. I also don't care when people follow like models and shit. I don't know. Some people get really jealous about that, and I just don't care.
I don't think I get jealous about it, but like my boyfriend doesn't have social media, so I don't ever think about it. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
So part of me wants to say, yeah, that's a red flag. Do you think this is a red flag? If you're dating a straight man and his best friend is of the opposite sex, is a woman,
No. I still don't.
and she's also straight.
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't think I've ever been weird about that stuff.
Yeah.
I've had one of my college boyfriends had a best friend who was a woman or a girl, I guess. No, woman. We were in college. Like, how old are our college kids? Yeah. And I really liked her. We got along. I don't know. I feel like at some point, friendships, like I have childhood friends that were boys that sure, maybe at one point like they were interested or I was interested or something, but like once you've known someone for so long, it's like if it's really an issue, then it will be.
Yeah.
But like if it's not, whatever.
Yeah, I think it depends on the vibe.
Yeah.
Purely.
Do you think it's a red flag if someone doesn't get along with their parents?
Do I think it's a red flag if someone doesn't get along with their parents? Absolutely not. I don't think that's a red flag at all.
No, I don't either.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what their parents are like.
Parents can be super toxic.
Yeah.
I actually think it's more of a red flag if someone is like a family stand no matter what. Because like not all family is healthy or good for you. And I'm very much more about like chosen family and being around people that like are aligned or are just good people.
Yeah.
So when people are like, it's really important that like they have a big family presence, I'm like, that's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a problem for me.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be with my partner, I'm going to support them. Mm-hmm. So whatever that involves, unless it's murder.
That would be pretty good if they didn't do that. This one's funny. Do you think it's a red flag if they place their phone screen down on the table?
It depends. It depends if you have that gut intuition or not.
It's totally dependent.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like I would do that all the time, not even thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't want the screen to light up and be like in my face.
I always do that if I'm at like a friend dinner or like, and I would on a date too, but like I'm not sketchy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But if my ex did it, I would have been sketched out by it.
Yeah, exactly. And you've probably been in a situation where you weren't actually in the dating phase yet, but maybe you're going on multiple dates with people.
Yeah.
And you'll do that.
Right.
So you know the difference.
Totally. It's a context clue one.
Yeah.
Are there any other good ones?
No, I think that's pretty much it. That was some good like red flag.
Oh, wait, what about this one? Your friends and family members don't want to spend time with them.
Yeah, red flag, huge red flag.
Yeah.
Because when you're in that toxic relationship, your partner will start to turn you on the people that you've had in your life supporting you forever.
Totally.
And then that's when you don't catch it right away, but like
it can be really subtle.
When you start like prioritizing your relationship over any like friend hangouts or something, or like trust, or like your friends don't want them around, or and then you start getting mad at your friends because they don't want them around, but then you're not listening to them, and these have been your rocks. Red flag.
It's a hard one because not all friends are honest about that. And like I remember there's a situation where like people didn't necessarily tell me, or vice versa. Like, that if you have a friend in a toxic relationship, the only thing that's going to get them out of that is them wanting to leave.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not going to be anything you say. So then you're in this position of like, how do I bring this up to you and let you know that this is obviously not the relationship for you, but you're not going to listen to me. It might just hurt our friendship. So in that sense, it's hard. But yes, I think in a genuine way, it's a super big red flag if like the people I really value do not like the person I'm dating. And I asked my therapist this because in my least healthy relationships, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I don't care what they think. I'm going to date this person regardless. In my healthiest connections, I actually do care.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do my friends think of this person? Do they value them? Like, I want to ask because I want to know.
And they don't have the rose-colored lenses that we have.
Yeah.
Like, you're infatuated with this person when you first start dating, and you don't pick up on the subtle red flags like we're mentioning. Like, some of these aren't, but like some that we have mentioned are big red flags that you just don't see. Like, if I would have told my friend, and then if you feel, that's a thing. If you feel like you can't tell your friend something that happened that they did.
Yeah.
Big red flag.
Yeah.
That's been a big one. Like
100%.
I remember being so like I remember I like didn't tell people that he called me his ex's name because like I was embarrassed. Red flag.
Yeah. You should be able to like talk because like in a healthy relationship, stuff will happen and it's okay. You can get over it. But like in an unhealthy relationship, everything feels like the world's ending. And if someone like validates that fear in you, that it's a whole spiral.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
All right.
There's some red flags that you can may or may not have experienced or you could look out for. Or if you listen to something and you're like, actually, that is a red flag for me, and we said it wasn't, let us know.
Let us know. I like this episode because we're talking about red flags and we're going to talk about squirting now.
That's so true. Can I have a buffer between red flags and squirting? I need to tell you this.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot. I was going to tell you this the minute I walked in. You know how Maddie, which is a coworker that we have, was teaching us, we were doing an in-service on Friday and she was teaching us like lumbar manips and everything, right? So I told Austin, I was like, yeah, I work today. Like we had an in-service, we got food and like whatever. I was like talking about my day and I was like, yeah. And then Maddie was like, showed us mobilizations and manips. And he was like, she showed you what? And I was like, manips. And he was like, manips? Like he thought I was like showing my nip. Like he was like, he was like shocked. Showed us lumbar mobs and manips.
That's so funny.
He was like, you showed your what?
That's hilarious.
God. I was like, I've never put that together, but I forever will think of manips.
Manips. That's funny. I've never thought about that either. It is funny because like that is just what we say. Manipulations is what that's for. But that's hilarious. Check out my nips.
Show me my nips.
So good.
All right. Show you my nips.
Now on to squirting. Okay, guys. This is a question we've gotten so many times, and we just wanted to have it be an episode topic so we can address it once and for all, and then we can hear your fabulous squirting stories later on in our Pelvic Freak story times. What the heck is squirting? Is it vaginal fluid? Is it pee? Is it something else? Is it real? These are the kinds of things people ask us all the time. And then we get a lot of stories of people being embarrassed about the first time they squirted because they didn't know it was a thing. And it is more common, I would say, than I thought because I've never had it happen to me. So people interchange female ejaculate and squirting, but in this article it says that there are differences between the two, and it is mostly the fluid makeup that is the difference and where it originates in the body. So when you squirt, the liquid will be more watery and clear, whereas ejaculation will present as a more viscous, whiter fluid. Squirting is believed to originate in the bladder, and ejaculation comes from the Skene's gland, which is known as the female prostate. In most cases, people probably wouldn't know the difference, which is why they're used interchangeably. But squirting is a very real thing, and the fluid is essentially urine because it's coming from the bladder, and it's an involuntary release of that. So this is very different from incontinence. Incontinence is not stimulated sexually in this way. So it's not used interchangeably with incontinence either. But yeah, research shows that 10 to 54% of women ejaculate. That is probably the same percentage of people who would say that they squirt because most people aren't going to differentiate those two things.
And I would say like percentages are always very big like that in the pelvic floor women's health world because not a lot of people like to talk about this kind of stuff. So,
And it's not researched.
yeah, it's going to be harder to find participants for that, I assume.
But this is interesting. Nearly 80% of women and 90% of their partners who experienced this said it was good for their sex lives. That's fun.
Yeah, I bet it could give like the partner that could make you squirt, give them more confidence too and be like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did that from my partner. Like that could give a lot more confidence in the bedroom. And then like and it obviously like squirting, maybe not all the time, but is typically a stronger orgasm, like a larger orgasm for sure.
Yeah, I read more about like it's usually that G-spot stimulation. So if you have like a finger inserted in the vaginal canal and then do that like come hither curl, that's how you find the G-spot. And they say it's like almond shaped and a little fleshy around it. And that stimulated is usually what causes squirting to happen because that's a stronger orgasm in most cases.
There are some people that can only squirt. That is definitely a thing too. And I know it can be frustrating for people.
Yeah. If you do squirt, you are not alone. This is not an uncommon occurrence. So that's also something we want to destigmatize because people do feel embarrassed about it and ask us questions about it in an anonymous way because of that. So we're just here to destigmatize the topic too.
Guys, we've talked about OMG, yes, plenty of times. And yes, it is something that you have to pay for, but you can get a free version just to like check it out and see like what you can get from this. But if you are really interested, you can pay for this and it gives you a lot of different tips for experience or for exploring your own pleasure. So there's anything from self-pleasure tips to pleasure with a partner, like couples games, like things like that. Just to explore each other's bodies, but it's mostly for getting more knowledge out about the female orgasm and ways for female pleasure to be experienced, right? Because obviously that is something that a lot of people struggle with. So one of the things on here, which obviously covers our topic today, is about squirting. So do you want to read some of what OMGS says?
Yeah, OMGS has slightly different percentages, and to be honest, I trust them more because that article was based on a couple studies, but they use a ton of research on this website. So they say that 41% of people have experienced squirting, though many more can, and 87% of people who have squirted went on for years thinking that they couldn't prior to doing that. So they can actually teach you how to do this, and they describe it as a total personal release and being able to really let go because you have to essentially turn your lizard brain on and like literally not be thinking about anything or being stressed about it.
Yeah.
And just allow the body to totally relax.
That's so true because this actually talks about like what we said, like people say that they felt close to their partner in the bedroom. I forget the exact words you said, but this says a lot of women and their partners find something primal about squirting, sharing the moment of surrender and the potential for messiness can feel really intimate. And many women also find it super emotional and it sometimes can bring you to tears.
That's pretty cool.
That's a big O if I've ever heard one.
I want to experience that.
I want to cry.
Only 20% of people who squirt have orgasms at the same time.
Wait, what did you just say?
Only 20% of people who squirt have orgasms at the same time.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Squirting can feel great, but in a different way from orgasm. That is interesting. That's news to me. I love OMGS, guys. If you haven't checked them out, like the platform is so good too. The user experience is great. Their videos are great. I really highly recommend them for this stuff. And it's cool that they have a video tutorial on this specific topic. Like their topics that they actually teach you about are really great.
Okay, so this is a little bit more on what OMGS talks about. Is that there's no magic method that leads to squirting, right? So we said mostly it's from like G-spot regions, but it can be different for everyone.
What made me want to talk about this is after our last Pelvic Freak story time, my friend was listening and they texted me and she said, I'm listening to your podcast, What Sex Ed Never Taught Me, and I have such a good one. LOL, I had no idea what squirting was and literally was mortified the first time it happened. I thought I peed the bed. That's just, I feel like that's a pretty common experience for people if it comes on involuntarily, right?
Yeah. So we talk about the 3 stages of squirting. Okay. So there's ramp, rub, and release. Those are the 3 stages. Okay, so ramp stage is like the building of tension. And it's like that feeling that you have before you squirt that you are worried that you're going to have to pee. So a lot of women will like stop, or a lot of people with vulvas will stop because they think that they're about to pee. But that's like the ramp period. Okay, stage 2. Do you want to read stage 2?
The rub, stimulation that builds up the tension, usually for several minutes, by increasing one or more of pressure, speed, duration, and consistency. So it feels like pressure and tension is building and building. So there's pressure and speed, there's duration, and there's consistency that you can all play around with those parameters.
And then stage 3 is release. So once the tension and pressure inside has built up so much, then there are techniques that can help trigger squirting. So some of the tips that they mention to help trigger the squirting is super consistency. So like being completely consistent the whole time. All right. Which I feel like that's obvious one. I feel like that's mainly for an orgasm too. Like you have to be very consistent, right? Unclenching the muscles. So you want to relax your pelvic floor. That's like a big one. And we've talked about that before. And I've never had an orgasm episode. Like a lot of people will try to like clench and like squeeze their muscles really tight in order to get there. But in reality, you're not letting your muscles relax enough so that you can fully relax and contract to have that strong, like maximal orgasm. The more you relax, the better your orgasm is going to be. Okay, this is an interesting one too. They say that you could bear down. So 13% of people say that they squirt when they push or bear down like they're squeezing something out. So that's really interesting. I don't know if like, I've never tried that personally.
No.
But maybe.
That would feel so counterintuitive to me during sex, but I mean,
maybe, here's a tip for you.
Yeah.
You said you want to feel it.
Yeah.
You could try it out.
That's true.
Okay, here's another one. A sudden burst of speed. So this says that 17% of people squirt when their partner adds a burst of increased speed and pressure at this phase. So it's after the ramp phase, after like the rub phase. This is like once the tension and pressure is all built up, like you're about to have an orgasm. And it's only after that buildup. So then you like then increase the speed a lot more and then keeping that consistency, right? And then this last tip is during this phase, withdrawal. So it says 10% squirt when whatever's in their vagina is pulled out. So like, I guess like maybe like a quick withdrawal if you have like penetration after that like built up tension. So you have like so much tension and pressure and then it's like a very quick release.
Yeah. This is really cool.
Helps to trigger that squirting or orgasm.
This is cool. What's also cool about this is they have like tips on how to be helpful, what not to do, patience, not putting any pressure on the person that's either trying to squirt or you're trying to make squirt. Because the second you put pressure on anything sexually, you're not going to get there, right? Then we're overthinking and then we're breaking that how to have an orgasm cycle that the body needs to go through. So they have some really cool tips on all of that as well.
I think this could be so fun to try with your partner. To like be like, okay, like you want to talk about it outside the bedroom, be like, I want to squirt tonight. And give this partner OMG yes, read those tips or listen to this podcast episode. Because honestly, those step 3, like super consistency, unclenching the muscles, potentially trying to bear down, sudden burst of speed from like your partner applying that to you or you doing it to yourself. And then that withdrawal technique, you could try all these techniques and see what works for you. It could be like a game almost. And experiencing that with your partner could be really intimate and really fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some challenges, right? So obviously this is a harder thing to accomplish. Like orgasms in general for a lot of people are difficult, but squirting even more mainly because you feel like you're about to pee. A lot of people are going to want to stop that. And then that's taking away that pleasure for you. So I think being really open and communicating with that with your partner, like, okay, if we're going to try to get me to squirt tonight, then we're just going to go all out. And letting go of anything, like what Amanda was saying, like anytime you put pressure on something, like it's not going to work out. You got to be like, let's try this. Let's have fun with it. Take the pressure out of it. Whatever happens, happens. And we're just going to feel good doing it and having fun with each other.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Squirt away, folks. Share your Squirtle stories with us.
Pelvic Freak Squirt Edition.
We have a lot of freaks out there trying to squirt and trying to avoid people with red flags. This is going to be a good episode for them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that we like kind of talked through the stages of squirting. If you guys want to see this for yourselves, they also have on OMG, yes, they have videos of literally real people showing how they get themselves to squirt. And this is like literally like evidence-based, and you're going to see real people with real vulvas showing you their techniques, but like in an educational way so that you can learn. Because like what else is, I'm a visual learner. Sorry. You got to show me.
It's sweet. I love OMG, yes. Now I want to like do a deep dive on them today. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. They
Go
have,
through some of the things.
they've added stuff on since I first got it. Like when I first got it, they didn't have the couples portion to where like you can experience things with your partner. I mean, honestly, like you could buy that subscription and then just share your email and password with your partner so they can look at it too.
That's true. All right, guys, let us know any follow-up questions, stories you have about squirting, if you have any, and maybe we'll do a freak story time and include all of our squirting ones kind of in one episode at some point.
Yeah, maybe look out for a poll soon on our Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you follow us there at Pelvic POV, and maybe we'll do a poll for whatever we want our next pelvic freak story time to be, because sooner or later we're gonna be having another one come up right around the corner.
But yeah, make sure you're following us on social media, and you can also submit at the link in our bio any questions or stories that you want us to read on a future episode.
All right, guys, leave us a 5-star rating or review, please.
All right. Bye, pelvic freaks.
Bye, pelvic freaks.
Freaks.